people are shocked by shocking rumors about Rick Harrison, a familiar face on the show Pawn Stars. According to rumors that spread quickly, Richard Harrison, also known as Rick, has been sentenced to life in prison. Rick is known for being a smart businessman and an expert in antiques. Rick has always been seen as the soul of the famous pawn shop in Las Vegas, but now things seem to have gone in a completely different direction. For many years, Pawn Stars has drew millions of viewers by showing the interesting world of antique trading, where rare items are bought and sold, tense negotiations happen all the time, and unexpected things always happen. But now, instead of dramatic negotiations, the name Rick Harrison shows up with a completely different story, a dark and unexpected situation. What really happened is that Rick is in serious legal trouble, as was rumored. Let's look into the details of this case to clear things up. Richard Harrison, also known as Rick Harrison, is an American businessman, and Rick was born on March 22, 1965 in Lexington, North Carolina. Before he became famous on Pawn Stars, his life had many ups and downs. When he was only 2 years old, his family moved to San Diego, California, where he spent most of his childhood. However, Rick's childhood was not easy. When he was 8, he was diagnosed with epilepsy, which meant he missed a lot of school and spent most of his time reading. It was these years of studying that helped him learn a lot about history, which later became a because of illness. Rick had to drop out of school in his second year of high school. But he didn't see it as a failure. Instead, he used it as motivation to learn more, especially about business and history. The pawn shop journey. When Rick was a teenager, he started working on different business projects with his father Richard Benjamin Harrison, also known as the Old Man. This helped him learn early on how to judge the value and authenticity of items, which would later become the foundation of his career. Rick's girlfriend Kim got pregnant when he was 17 years old, which led to their marriage. They had 2 sons, Corey and Adam, but after 8 years of marriage, they decided to split up. In 1981, Rick's family moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, where his father opened the Gold and Silver Coin Shop. By 1989, the shop had changed its name to the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, which would become the main setting for Pawn Stars. The early years were not easy for Rick and his father. They had to work hard and deal with many problems. Rick built a reputation in Las Vegas in the early 2000s for his extensive knowledge of collectibles and historical artifacts. Realizing the entertainment potential of pawnbroking, he began coming up with ideas for a reality TV show that would document the day-to-day operations of his pawn shop. Despite being turned down at first, Rick was determined, and after years of persistence, he finally signed a contract with the History Channel in 2009, and Pawn Stars was created to give viewers a look into the world of pawnbroking, featuring exciting deals, rare antiques, and interesting historical stories. The show starred Rick, his son Corey, Big Hoss Harrison, his father Old Man Harrison, and their best friend Austin Chumley Russell. Together, they valued, bought, and sold valuable historical items, often getting into tense negotiations. When it first aired, Pawn Stars was a huge hit, turning Rick from a local pawn shop owner into a TV personality. Rick's straightforward style and sharp wit made him famous. Rick quickly became a fan favorite because of the way he negotiated and how much he knew about the items he was selling. When he gave an item's final price, his famous line, "The best I can do is," became a catchphrase. More than just entertainment, Pawn Stars was also educational because each episode included interesting historical information about the items that were brought into the shop. This approach helped the show attract viewers of all ages and make it one of the History Channel's most popular shows. Fans came from all over the world to see the big deals and even had the chance to be in an episode. The store's sales went through the roof, which led to the growth of other businesses like selling souvenirs, books, and even opening a restaurant. Rick's fame didn't end with Pawn Stars. He went on to appear on many other TV shows, was interviewed in well-known magazines, and became a popular speaker at business events where he talked about business strategies and how to be an entrepreneur. Rick Harrison is the brains behind the success of Pawn Stars. He is known for both his business sense and his practical and decisive leadership style. On the show, he often acts as a cool-headed adult, stopping his son Corey from making hasty decisions or Chumlee from getting into trouble. From a boy with epilepsy who dropped out of school to a successful businessman and TV star, Rick Harrison has written his own success story. While Pawn Stars may continue to grow in new directions, Harrison has written his own. It's clear that Rick is the driving force behind the show's current success. Rick Harrison's relationship with his father, Richard Old Man Harrison, was more than just a father-son bond. It was a bond formed over many years of working together. Not only did they build gold and silver pawn shop together, but they also shared a business philosophy based on honesty and business sense. When Old Man Harrison died in 2018, Rick continued to run the business according to his father's rules. Even though Rick is very successful with Pawn Stars, his personal life has had its ups and downs. After his first marriage ended, he married Tracy Harrison, and they were together for 27 years before getting a divorce in 2011. 2 years later, Rick married Deanna Burdett in a ceremony officiated by Danny Coker, star of Counting Cars, with Chumlee as the ring bearer. Rick has always kept his family life private, but there are times when he talks about his wife and children. A man who loves his family and always tries to balance his fame, career, and personal life, Rick Harrison grew his business empire by opening Rick's Rollin' Smoke BBQ and Tavern at Pawn Plaza, right next to the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. In 2011, he co-authored the book License to Pawn: Deals, Steals, and My Life at the Gold and Silver, which told stories from behind the scenes of his life and career. As a smart businessman, Rick is always looking for new ways to grow his empire. Rick has sold thousands of items on Pawn Stars, ranging from historical documents to rare artifacts. His ability to judge value has been proven by the fact that he is willing to talk to experts about things that aren't in his area of expertise, which shows how careful and smart he is as a businessman. One of Rick's most famous purchases was a 2001 New England Patriots Super Bowl ring that he bought for $2,600, but later had its value raised. Rick's love of history and valuable artifacts was shown by the collection of Spanish gold coins from a shipwreck in 1715. Despite his great success, Rick's life has not always been easy. In 2023, he became the subject of a federal investigation, which shocked his fans and people close to him. FBI agents, IRS agents, and people from the Department of Cultural Heritage Protection searched Rick's Las Vegas home and the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop extensively. People who were in the store at the time said it was like a scene from a movie, with employees and customers being detained while agents seized computers, documents, and artifacts from the store. Rick's son, Corey Harrison, was there and later said that everything happened so quickly that it was almost surreal. Videos of Rick being led out of the house by Secret Service agents quickly went viral on social media, causing a lot of speculation. As more information came out, it became clear that the police were investigating. There have been accusations of a complex tax evasion scheme, money laundering, and the sale of artifacts thought to have come from illegal sources. These accusations come from suspicious transactions flagged by financial institutions and complaints from several former business partners. Despite the negative public opinion, Rick has stayed calm and continued to run his business while waiting for the investigation to finish. There is no doubt that Rick Harrison is one of the most influential reality TV stars of all time. Rick Harrison went from being a bookish kid to a successful businessman and Pawn Stars star. His story shows how hard you can work, how talented you are, and how you can adapt to any situation. In the weeks after the raid, History Channel stopped making Pawn Stars and said they were monitoring the situation and would make a decision as more information came in. The Gold and Silver Pawn Shop stayed open, but business had dropped significantly because of the legal trouble involving Rick Harrison. Representatives of Rick quickly denied any wrongdoing, saying that the investigation was just a misunderstanding that would be cleared up soon. His lawyer, David Marshall, a famous Las Vegas lawyer with a lot of experience working with celebrities, reassured everyone that Rick had always run his business in an honest and legal way. However, as the investigation went on, more and more disturbing details came to light. Authorities say they have evidence that Rick ran a complex system of purposely undervaluing certain to lower his tax bill while secretly selling them on the black market for what they were really worth. Investigators also said that Rick bought many of the stolen artifacts through middlemen, including important historical documents and artifacts from museums and private collections. Court records later showed that the investigation began when a former employee of Rick's came forward and said they had been directly involved in the acquisition of many of the valuable items and information about a private accounting system Rick wanted to use to keep sensitive transactions off of the official books. Rick was arrested soon after, but was released on bail the next day and went to court right away. He was charged with a number of serious crimes, including tax evasion, money laundering, dealing in stolen property, and plotting to buy historical artifacts illegally. Although Rick's lawyer, David Marshall, continued to maintain his client's innocence, the pressure from the press grew downright hostile. But as former colleagues began testifying against him, Rick's situation became more dire. The prosecution presented a huge amount of financial documents, encrypted messages, and testimony from former employees who said Rick had told them to change records to hide big transactions. One of the most shocking pieces of evidence was a series of messages between Rick and an unnamed indirect exchange. Rick allegedly talked about how to hide the source of an 18th century document that was allegedly stolen from a university archive. In another, Rick allegedly planned to set up transactions so that he wouldn't have to report large cash payments. Despite the pressure from the trial, Rick stuck to his beliefs by appearing on many TV shows, especially ones leaning conservative. He said that he was the target of a plot to ruin the reputation and success of Pawn Stars, many of Rick's hashtags. Some people were upset with how the case was handled and made hashtags like #HashFreeRick and held protests outside the courthouse. For others, Rick's fall was a big surprise because they saw him on TV as a sharp but honest businessman who was now in legal trouble. The final verdict shocked many people, including lawyers in the courtroom. When the judge read the verdict, the room went silent. Rick had been calm throughout the trial. His son Corey sat in the back with his head in his hands, and Chumley, Rick's longtime friend, quickly left the courtroom in tears. Some experts said the sentence was too harsh for what Rick was accused of, but the judge stressed that it was not only a punishment for financial crimes, but also for the irreparable damage Rick had done to cultural and historical heritage during the case's controversy. However, many loyal fans thought Rick deserved the sentence. People who felt sorry for him set up support groups on social media and said that Pawn Stars had made a big difference in making history more accessible than ever before. "Rick taught me to love history in a way that school never could," one fan wrote. "Now it's our turn to show him that we haven't forgotten the good things he brought." Mr. Harrison, you presented yourself to the American public as a guardian of history, a person who values artifacts and values our shared heritage, the judge said during the sentencing hearing. In reality, you were part of an illegal trafficking network that helped steal and destroy priceless cultural heritage for personal gain. This court cannot turn a blind eye to the gravity of these actions. Those powerful words echoed throughout the courtroom, marking the end of Rick Harrison's illustrious career. Rick's legal team acted right away after the verdict was announced, filed an appeal, saying that Rick's sentence was too harsh and violated his civil rights because the crime was not violent. They also asked that Rick be freed on bail while he waits for his appeal. But this request was turned down. The picture of Rick being let out of court in handcuffs quickly became popular on social media and in newspapers, and people had mixed feelings about it. Many of Rick's loyal fans were skeptical, thinking that there was something fishy about the case and that Rick had been made a scapegoat for something. Historians and cultural heritage experts, on the other hand, welcomed the harsh sentence, seeing it as necessary to stop the illegal trade in antiquities. In response, Rick's fans started the Hearts for Harrison campaign, which got more than 100,000 signatures calling for the sentence to be reviewed. "We don't deny that Rick may have made a mistake, but this sentence is not justice, it's revenge," Melissa Jenkins, the campaign's spokesperson, said. "We urge everyone to sign the petition or donate to Rick's legal fund. Every prayer, message of support, and small donation can help him have a fair chance at an appeal." Rick's son, Corey Harrison, also spoke deeply, saying, "My father may have made mistakes, but he did not deserve to die in prison. He deserves a chance to make things right." At the same time, the History Channel quickly cut all ties with Rick, canceling the show Pawn Stars and removing all reruns. The channel said in a statement that it was deeply disappointed with Rick's actions and reaffirmed its unwavering dedication to protecting and celebrating cultural heritage. Rick Harrison, once a beloved TV star, is now facing a completely different chapter in his life, one full of controversy, legal problems, and unanswered questions. Before his legal problems, Harrison was not only a well-known face in reality TV, but also a smart businessman who had built a successful empire that went beyond gold and silver pawn shop. His business sense led him to open a number of restaurants and bars in Las Vegas, with plans to expand to other cities. Even though the scandal hurt Rick's reputation, his legacy can't be denied. Currently, his son Corey Harrison runs the whole gold and silver pawn shop. Even though the shop's customer base dropped after the scandal, it's still a popular place for people in Las Vegas to rebuild trust. Corey talked about how hard it is to run the family business while also addressing concerns raised at Rick's trial in an emotional interview 6 months after his conviction. "We implemented rigorous verification processes for every purchase. What happened was wrong, and we are committed to being part of the solution, not the problem," he said, referring to Austin Chumley Russell, who saw Rick's conviction. In a podcast interview, Chumley said, "I learned a lot from Rick, sound business principles that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. But I also had to accept that there was a side to him that I didn't see, or maybe I didn't want to see." For the Harrison family, the focus is now on helping Rick with his appeal while working to rebuild the reputation and protect the future of the famous pawn shop. Many people were surprised when Corey took over the business. He used to be known for acting hastily around Pawn Stars, but Corey has shown that he is smart enough to handle the family's money. "The letters of support from fans have been a lifeline for my dad," he said in a recent press release. "Corey's poems are pleasing for the world and for who he is," adding that he reads every letter and feels strong knowing that so many people still believe in the Harrison family. During this tough time, the family has held vigils every Sunday in front of the pawn shop where loyal fans gather to show their support. People who can't make it to Las Vegas are asked to send letters, cards, or even photos of Pawn Stars memories that used to make people happy. "These small acts of kindness make a big difference to a man who is going through the worst time of his life," Corey said. Despite the changes, Corey believes that gold and silver pawn shop can weather the storm. "My dad taught me everything I know about this business," he said. "The good ideals he taught me are the basis on which I'm making my money. We've made some big mistakes, but this store has been a part of Las Vegas for more than 30 years. And I'm going to make sure it stays there for at least another 30. Rick Harrison's journey has been nothing short of amazing. He went from being a poor pawn shop owner to a successful businessman to a reality TV star to a life prisoner. His dramatic change shows how quickly fortunes can change, especially in the harsh spotlight of fame. Some people have said that Rick's fall is like a Shakespearean tragedy because it shows how a man who knows a lot about history can use the very things he loved to hurt himself. Rick's story is now seen as a warning about the temptations of success and the thin line between smart business strategy and criminal behavior. The shocking turn of events has not only shocked reality TV fans, but it has also put his family business in danger without the charismatic leader. Rick Harrison needs all the help he can get right now. If you were a fan of Pawn Stars and enjoyed Rick's entertainment over the years, please send him words of support, positive thoughts, or prayers. Rick's family has set up a website where fans can leave messages that will be sent to him in prison. According to the Harrison family, hearing messages from fans has been a great source of strength for him during this hard time. The website also has an address where messages can be sent. Thank you for your letters of support. Each letter is meant to bring Rick a little comfort during this difficult time. Rick's family said in a statement that he has always appreciated the Pawn Stars audience and that knowing you are still there for him means more than ever. The Rick Harrison saga continues with unprecedented twists and turns in the reality TV industry. We'll keep you updated on this shocking case that not only affected one person, but also changed a family business and challenged the public's view of success. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please like, follow, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any new videos. See you in the next ones.